we look at ourselves as just being a very small part of trying to help men look and feel amazing and try to help men be the best they can be. And we think if we can help men feel good about themselves, we can potentially help them be good brothers and fathers and husbands and so forth and so on. So we're just playing a very small part. In the morning you get up, you take care of yourself with our skincare systems, and you go to bed and you do the same thing, and you will see an impact, and hopefully you'll feel just a little bit better and a little more prepared to go about your day, or have a great date, or take your child to a baseball game, whatever it is you're doing.
Let's learn how our next guest gets up, dress up, and show up on purpose. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lunid, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Kelley Thornton. Now, he started his entrepreneurial journey super young, and we're talking about started out painting houses and then off to college using that funding to pay for school, which is super smart at such a young age. I know 18, 19-year-olds thinking about that, but Kelley was ahead of the game, and he met his business partner also in college, and then started Tiege Hanley, and so packaging company, as well as other different ones that he's developed over the years. And now his latest adventure is actually a skincare system that he has. So I'm looking forward to diving into his many, many ventures. So with no further ado, Kelley, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dr. Lanid. I'm so happy to be here, and your skin looks amazing.
Thank you. Hydration, hydrate. You won't believe how much water I'm drinking daily, and it really helps. And you, as the expert, can talk to that as well. But thank you very much. I do take care of it. Let's talk about, I just gave a brief bio about your journey, but like this fire has been instilled in you for a while to kind of pursue the entrepreneur path, but also kind of control your own destiny, control how much money you make, what time you spend your time, all that good stuff. It's been ingrained in a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, I joked yesterday with someone asked me about why I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I kind of joked and said, well, possibly because I'm a control freak. I know that's a bad answer. I mean, but there is some element to wanting to control your own destiny, right. And I think like some people, are just wired to kind of want to create and to grow and develop and to nurture business, a business. And that was something that really was ingrained on me early on in my career. And like you said, thank you very much for that intro, by the way. I was, I was living in New England at the time. So, if you're familiar with New England, I think you went to school there. I mean, everything is clapboard and wood houses and old colonial, and everything needed to be painted. So I was very fortunate to have an enormously successful painting business early on. And it really helped me. It helped me graduate from college debt free. It really helped me, with my relationship with my wife and us getting started and being able to, get a house early on and things like that. It was really just an amazing, part of my journey.
It's really fascinating how much coming out of school debt-free really sets you on a trajectory that is so far better than your counterparts or even your peers, because you don't have to worry about paying down $30,000 loan, because you could use that as a down payment. Let's talk about that gap.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's to some degree, it's even a controversial point. It's a very important point for people to know. I mean, and there is a lot of conversation, and you have a phenomenal education, and congrats for all that you've accomplished too. But there is, that conversation around what is, the value of that education, and spending, a tremendous amount of money to get an education now. And what does that do for you in your lifelong earning? I still am a firm believer that getting a great education, is critical to a person's development and also to their success. So I am a strong advocate of that. But, with the cost of schools these days, it is really, you really need to think about, how that debt can impact you long term. I didn't realize how fortunate it was. And really, it was my father. My father would give me, and school was not as expensive as it is now. My father would give me the tuition bill and say, I need a check for half of the tuition before you started. So half a room and board, half of the tuition for the year. I just was I was a hard worker early on. So I was more, interested in making money and having a job than I was just, kind of messing around and getting in trouble. So, I was kind of very motivated by work, and I, had a chance to be a painter, and I, I did that for a couple of years, and then I started my own business with about 5 other people, and and that what made me feel great about that is that it also allowed me to help other people make some money during their college as well. So I think like we all benefited from it. But getting out of college, my wife came from a family in Connecticut that was an immigrant family, and they didn't have a ton of money. There was 8 children. There was not a ton of money there. So it really also helped me with her. She had a little bit of debt, and helped keep us prepare for a wedding and be able to pay for that, out of my wife and I's pocket. So the leg up that gave me was tremendous.
Yeah, and you paid for your wedding too. Look at you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great. And you had that need to build your own. Although you spent 20 years, you had 20 years in corporate America.
Yes.
After starting that, so you started your own business, made some income, and then you went to, that's what you do, right? They tell you go to school, graduate, go to corporate America. I feel like everybody kind of falls into that path, whether we want to or not. But eventually, our passion drives us right out of there.
Exactly. I mean, look, everybody's path's different. And I will say that no path is linear. I think there's a lot of different twists and turns in everybody's career. There's a lot of benefits from going to corporate America. I kind of have the sense that like the consensus out there right now is like, entrepreneurs is kind of a cool thing, a cool path, and corporate America is not a cool path. I don't know if that's true or not, or just my, kind of how I feel, but there is a lot of value to go to a corporation. You learn about business acumen. You learn about how business is conducted, how you should be conducting yourself. You learn about all different types of things in career paths and mentorship, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to mentor other people. You see how teams work together, but you also see a lot of the kind of underbelly of corporations, right? A lot of dog eat dog world. Everybody's kind of trying to, get over top of someone else to get that position, because as you get higher and higher in a corporation, there's fewer and fewer opportunities. So it's, it's really challenging. So, but I think it does teach you a lot about business, especially if you're in the right company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I concur. You learn how about leadership too, having different kinds of boss, and then you learn, okay, I'm never going to be like this kind of boss, like this person, and these are the skill sets I'm going to embody, I'm going to take with me. So that was one of the biggest things I learned in corporate America as well, is how to become an effective, a better leader, transformative versus transactional.
Absolutely. So I'm very happy for those years. I think they were fantastic years. I did see things that made me frustrated, and I think Doctor, I was, I kind of looked around at my business, and I looked around at what I was producing for the company that I was working for, and looked at some of my peers, and I was kind of frustrated by the lack of motivation that some other people had at the company. And that really drove me to say, I've got to go out, and if I can accomplish what I'm accomplishing, within this organization, I need to go back out and be on my own. And I think even if I can create, if I'm capable of creating, a tenth of this type of output, it would be enough for me to be able to live on and have my family on. So that was kind of the impetus to get back out. But moving from corporate back out into an entrepreneur is a very hard process. because especially if you did it for a long time, because you're kind of set in your ways and you have to take that leap of faith. And especially if you're older, you have, a family and children and you have a lot of responsibility. So it's hard to break free from that.
Yeah, and in the mental aspect of it too. I remember when I left corporate America, I swear it took me about 6 months to just reprogram my brain from this like 8 to 9 or 9 to 5 work scheduled, having tasks and only doing. I put myself out at the bare minimum to get it done. And because when you come in as an entrepreneur, then you're wearing all these different hats. Things are moving at the speed of light, and you now have a team to manage, and you are the brand. Yeah, no, for sure. It took me about 6 months to just kind of purge some of the things that were not fitting.
I thought I worked really hard in corporation. I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, there's really no separate. I mean, I posted something earlier this year about work-life balance. I mean, there is no, really work-life balance. There's life. And, and how you're conducting yourself, both in being an entrepreneur and also trying to be the best person you can be, the best dad, the best husband, the best father, the best friend, the best son. So, you really need to try to figure out how to figure that out for you as an individual. How do you work all that into your life?
It's about priority, honestly. Like, it's like imagining juggling all these different glass balls, and if you dare drop one of them, it will break. And so for me I'm thinking about, for me with my daughter now, running my business and saying, well, I'm taking time away from being with her, but that's the juggle. When it's priority, am I going to allow certain days for these tasks and certain days for her? There is no like medium. There is no work-life balance. There is a priority, an ability to prioritize which balls am I going to take up now and which ones am I going to put down for just 30 minutes, 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great quote building off of what you just said. And I think it was said by the CEO of Google. I wish I could remember the exact quote, but work is like juggling 5 glass balls, and he named each one. And basically he said that, the most important one is, the relationships you have with your family. And if you drop that ball, and your friends, that one, if it breaks, you'll never be able to get it back. So trying to understand the balance that you have to play is really critical.
And that one's easy to drop because you get so consumed with like, I'm busy, so much to do. I don't have time for a Sunday phone call. And, it's detrimental if you don't do it. And I can see why, but it's important. It's also keeps you grounded, right? When things hit the wall, when your back hits the wall, you have that foundation to kind of go on to strengthen you.
Yeah. I was talking yesterday on the similar subject, and I was reflecting on my relationship with my wife, Paula, and how unbelievably supportive she's been of my journey. And I can tell you without a doubt, have I not had such a supportive spouse that's willing to accept, the risk tolerances and the risk profile of an entrepreneur, I would never be where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm. And that goes into who you partner with is very crucial. I think Jim Rohn says it. You are the sum of the 5 people that you do hang out with, or your closest people that are like in your ear, feeding your senses, talking to you. Like it's important to have the right circle around you, because they will make or break you. And for you, if I'm counting right, that you had about 4 businesses. If I'm counting the house painting one early on in your career.
Correct. About
4 businesses, and you've gone from different from one to the next. They're successful. Tell us about what's it's like building these businesses and renting and repeating. You got a success strategy. You got something that's working for you, Kelley, because you're able to do it over and over again. So tell us about what those strategies, success tips are.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I look at each one as, I like to use, think of it as a sports analogy. It's kind of like the junior league, the minor leagues, and the major leagues. And I've learned with each business, I've learned to be better at what I'm doing, and a better leader, making better decisions, a better learner. So I think each one of my businesses has prepared me for my next role. The business that I have right now, Tiege Hanley, we're a skincare business for men. We really focus on helping men develop healthy skincare routines. And this business has been the most exciting and the most challenging for me. I've had to learn over the last 7-8 years a very new skills that I didn't really know before around digital marketing, which has been very, very exciting to learn. But I've also blended a lot of my old skills about operating a business, which includes hiring and firing and finance and supply chain and shipping and negotiating and vendor management.
Those transcend.
Exactly. So, I've been able to put together my creative and marketing talent that I've known. So this has been a really exciting business and really fast paced. And I'm just crazy fortunate what I've been able to build with Tiege Hanley.
And you don't know what else you're going to do. What I like about you, Kelley, is I think T.G. Jakes said it. Don't put a period where God puts a comma. Because you've had these different businesses. It wasn't like I'm painting houses, period. This is all I do. That's what follows my name. It wasn't that I have the packaging company and period that followed her name. And you have range. It's like an actor, You go from painting, packaging, and now skincare. Those are very different industries.
Hugely different. And I think we need to be careful as entrepreneurs when we start building, because we start thinking that people that we need in our organizations are kind of need to be like us, which actually isn't the case. And it's one of the hard things. And people are so critical to our businesses. And when we start trying to project how we manage and think and feel as entrepreneurs, that we can get people that will be just like us in our business to help our business move forward. And frequently that's not the case. Not everybody thinks like entrepreneurs. Usually, we need to understand that people need very specific, kind of tasks and roles within an organization to help the organization get better. And so that's something I spend a lot of time on as a leader right now.
Is making sure that you have organization fit individuals that they're not just like an image of you, but they're what their skill sets are and how to hone them, because you got to make sure they grow in that process, but also putting them in the right roles so they thrive.
Precisely. Yep. It's a challenge.
Yeah. How challenging?
I've gotten it wrong a lot.
Yeah. Tell us.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that they're good at hiring, but, developing the right team it's the most important thing in business, and it's the hardest thing. And over the years, you actually, your team needs to be adjusted depending on where you are in your right. life of your business. The people that help you get started in business and that are on your team typically aren't the ones there when you're in a growth stage of the business, and they aren't, they typically aren't the ones there when you're trying to go from, to hit different plateaus in business. So it's over the years, I've brought in many of people into my organizations, and, and also had to exit many people from the organization, or they exited from the organizations. Absolutely the most difficult thing. But, being an entrepreneur, you have to be well-rounded. You have to have good people skills, leadership skills, management, HR. It's fun. It's a challenge every day.
Yeah, I know CEOs putting processes in place, just trying to kind of fine tune it, trying to systemize it, right? For lack of better words, trying to find a process that works to select the key players or the top candidate for the position or top performer. A lot of times it comes down to instinct, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes down to a cultural fit, a kind of a combination of skill set and aptitude and attitude and cultural fit. We're very clear about our culture here. So, and it's not like culture is not like, having a fun office or allowing dogs to come in the office or having, celebrating birthdays monthly. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a mindset about how you approach business. further together is one of our cultural pillars. Have a backbone and commit is another pillar. Connected to data is another pillar. Think like an owner, hire and train the best. These are type of cultural things that we try to align not only the vision of the company to, but how we think about new people within the organization, and also how we bring people, train and mentor people, and evaluate the performance of people. It's all based on those cultural pillars.
I like to think like an owner, because it's gonna be easier to get buy-in. And if you have buy-in, then they're gonna go out like little you. Go out and spread the message, get it out there, as if it's coming straight out of you, the owner. And culture is top to bottom.
Absolutely.
It starts from the top. You have to exemplify it, live it, and buy it. Tell us about the men's skincare. Why? How come you went to that?
Men need help, and
you don't say.
We need a lot of help. And I think, they've said for the last 15 years that in the beauty space that, skincare for men and beauty for men is kind of like the last bastion of skincare, of beauty. And so they've been, meaning the Estee Lauders of the world and the Unilevers and P&Gs, have been waiting for the market of the men's, grooming market to really develop. Over the last several years, there's been a lot of cultural changes, right? So there's been a lot of shift in the way that we think about ourselves, and culturally how we think about taking care of ourselves. So most of what we talk about here is about self-care, which is a massive. It doesn't matter. We speak men over here because our customers are men, but it's a massive topic, and it's becoming, and it started around, your health care, right? And, taking care of your health and having ownership in your health, and not just relying on your doctors. But it extends into, your physical health, what you put in your body, what you put on your body, how much rest you get, going to see the doctor, having healthy habits, are really important. And so skincare is part of that overarching environment of a man thinking about his health. And now, of course, I think we're going into, adding in mental health into that as well. So mental health and well-being is a big part of that umbrella of self-care. So we are, we look at ourselves as just being, a very small part of trying to help men look and feel amazing, and trying to help men be the best they can be. And we think if we can help men feel good about themselves, we can potentially help them be good brothers and fathers and husbands and so forth and so on. So we're just playing a very small part. In the morning you get up and you take care of yourself with our skincare systems, and you go to bed and you do the same thing, and you will see an impact, and hopefully you'll feel just a little bit better and a little more prepared to go about your day, or have a great date, or take your child to a baseball game, whatever it is you're doing.
Boosting confidence. So what I'm hearing is your that impact you're making is beyond the skincare piece of it. You're thinking about the whole being, the
Correct.
whole man. What makes the whole man, and how can he show up for his family, for his business?
We want to stay in our lane of skincare. The overarching umbrella is, a man, taking care of himself. And you mentioned hydration early on in the conversation. And, that is one thing that we talk about. We talk about all these healthy habits. And of course we do want to link them to skincare because that's our business, but that's what it's about. That's the overarching umbrella. And, women have known this for a long time. Men don't really get the cliff notes on, what it means to take care of yourself, right? Unfortunately, my father handed me a razor when it was time for me to shave for the first time. I went upstairs, I did a horrible job. And he said, let's go back up there and let me show you how you do it. And I got one official class, and I was done. Women have a benefit of their friends and their families and their mothers really trying to educate them a little bit more. And I'm not being, sexist. I'm just speaking truthfully here that men don't typically get very good lesson of the importance of using good facial moisturizers and face washes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and why is that, do you think? Because my brother, who just turned 30, is now buying a moisturizer. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, how did you find out
Yeah,
about that? Was it a girl? He was like, yeah, I was dating a girl and she was talking about it. And again, the source
exactly.
came from another woman. I was like, oh, we failed you. We failed you as sisters. We still failed you as my mother failed you because that's important. But we just assumed they never cared. Men never
Right.
cared too much about it. And it is geared, like it's $1 billion industry and it's all geared around
Yeah.
women and makeup and
Yeah.
you're getting that morning routine, which is the physical aspect of it,
Yeah.
done. So what's your take?
Well, I mean, outside of the U.S., I think, which is where some of this idea germinated for me, Southeast Asia, and even in far Eastern Europe, men are like, I mean, certainly in Southeast Asia, and it was driven by cultural changes there. But they, their moms and their society really does lean into the importance of taking care of yourself and looking good. So it's taken us a while here in America to kind of catch up. And men, we've been kind of stubborn, right? We would use bar soap on our face. And my grandfather actually used the detergent Comet. I don't know if you know that.
I don't.
It's like something you clean your bathroom with. I mean, he would use it on his hair and his scalp. And I mean, I think like we just, we really need a little bit of education. And culturally now, I think it's okay for guys to start thinking about this. And right, your brother's 30. There's a huge difference between these millennials and the 18 to 25-year-old crowd. The 18 to 25-year-old crowd, are wide open, very acceptant of the concept of I should put a moisturizer on, or and even as far as I should put on a concealer if I have a blemish on my skin, if I have a pimple and whatever, I should put a concealer on. And that generation is like wide open to that concept. In their 30s, they're more open to it. But guys, once they get in their 50s and 60s, culturally, like we weren't thinking about that. We're guerrilla style. We want to be able to go out all day in the sun and and go to bed without a shower. And that just doesn't work.
And for you, you're talking about your market is a younger generation, different generation. How do you relate?
Typically, well, surprisingly, our biggest cohorts of customers are under 30. So we have just as many customers from 18 to 30. And we have about 400,000 customers. We have just as many customers from 18 to 30 as we do from 30 to 70. So we have in 40 years, we have half of our customers. In, really 12 years, we have the other half. So we do have very young, a very young customer base. And it's a good point. I don't know how, I have a lot of younger in their career, not necessarily age-wise, but younger marketers that are really good at connecting with today's younger male. And it works really well for us.
Going back to circuit, putting in the right people in place, right?
Precisely.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be you're just like you. You just need somebody who thinks differently and can relate differently to people, especially your targeted audience. And that's wise right there. Tell us about, so I was going to show you this because 40-ounce thermoflask, and I'll have 4 of these a day. And my husband's like, where does it go? How are you empty? And some people require more water than others. And I think I'm one of those individuals that like, I'll be parched if I don't have it. And it's daily. And I feel the difference the next day if I have half of it. You can see it, my urine, my pee. I can't say the word right now.
Sure.
It's different color. But the hydration piece of it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm sure that has a lot to do with why your skin and hair look so beautiful. I mean, we talk about water all the time. It wasn't that long ago, almost like 10 years ago. I mean, like Snapple as a drink was the first kind of new drink that came out, and the teas. And now, there's every type of water and everything. But even as a kid, I mean, people didn't drink water like they do now. And they were drinking, all these carbonated beverages full of, of things sugar and things that we shouldn't we be drinking. But hydration is like so critical. And now it just doesn't help. It doesn't just, as it doesn't just impact your collagen production and how your skin looks and your hair, but it's really great for your digestive system and, for everything, right? And for your metabolism. So I strongly suggest to any men that's listening out there to make sure that they're maybe not, a couple of gallons, but they're drinking at least, half gallon of water a day.
Yeah. And then doing it first thing in the morning. That's one thing too, is hydrating first thing in the morning. And we're going to get into your morning routine in a bit.
Sure.
Is you wake up and the brain, you've been asleep, this fog where brain is majority water. And so when you've been sleeping for 6 to 8 hours, the first thing you ought to do is drink water, not necessarily more caffeine to dehydrate even more, but like just getting a glass of water in your system to actually kickstart the gears, for lack of a better word. So let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
Yeah, I have a very regimented morning. Every day of the week has a very specific plan. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I'm a morning workout person. I know some people don't like to work out in the morning. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I get up early and work out. I do actually, before I even hit the floor, I usually drink a half cup of water. You're exactly correct. I usually drink a half cup of water before, I'm down to counting how many sips of water I have before I go work out. And then, I meet with a men's group very early in the morning on Tuesdays. I meet with a lifelong friend after that. This all happens before 8:00. I usually get to work at 8:30. And then on Thursdays, that's the one day I usually meet with my business advisors. I usually have breakfast with them or meet with some other friend, again, all prior to work. My morning routine is very much about, waking up, having a shower, doing my face care routine. Usually includes a face wash every single morning, a daytime moisturizer. I use a face exfoliating scrub twice a week. I go a little extra because I'm getting old and I'm very tired, but I use an eye cream and a serum on my skin. I do that daily. So, and then I repeat that at night. So I brush my teeth, wash my face, use a moisturizer on at night before I go to bed. I follow the same routine 7 days a week. Saturdays, I might get, I get up, do the exact same thing. I work on Saturday. So every Saturday I like to be at work 8:30 in the morning. I usually try to finish it at 12:30 on Saturdays if I'm lucky, and I get to spend some family time. Usually, it's the list of things my wife needs me to do during the day. So Sunday, little prayer time, little family time.
Yeah, gotta balance it out. Again, it keeps you grounded. You show up as the entire man, the whole man. You can't just be all work. Right. And no play. And from your experience, how important it is to be consistent with that routine, right? For the skincare piece of it, like longevity wise, you don't just wake up and it's all better. I mean, this is years of hydrating and drinking tons and tons of water. I'm not a makeup wearing type of person either, so I avoid putting a lot of things on my face. Yeah. How important is that?
I mean, it's critical. I mean, routines are right. I mean, Malcolm Gladwell talked about 10,000 hours to get proficient at anything. I mean, routines just take commitment. And it takes a long time to establish healthy routines. And you have to be committed to it. I remember I actually work out with my wife, those 3 days a week I mentioned, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's fantastic time to be together and to do something and share something together. First year or so, my wife was saying she was kind of disappointed. She was like, I don't see the results that I want. And I say, well, you just got to stay at it. You've got to keep committed to it, and you got to get into, a healthy mindset about it. And eventually, you get over that threshold, and you get to the point where you have clearly established a routine, and it actually impacts your life. We talk about routine all the time because we're a subscription skincare business. Mm-hmm. So we always talk about having healthy skincare routines. And we spend a lot of time shepherding a guy through his experience, his initial experience with our skincare system, so that they can get into a good, healthy routine.
Yeah, and the routines that, there's the skincare routine, and then there's also the morning routine, the other aspect, you working out first thing in the morning, probably what you're feeding your senses, right? Reading and what you're seeing first thing in the morning. That prepares the mind, not just the physical, right? Because then I feel like that aspect of the morning routine sets the tone for the rest of the day in terms of your energy level, in terms of how focused you are, productivity. There's boost productivity throughout the day to help you show up better.
Yeah, unquestionably. I mean, I actually forgot. I usually, almost every single day, I have to stretch, when I get up. So I like you said, your body needs to be nourished with water. I actually am, I stretch because I feel very, stiff. I have a stiff back and legs. So I stretch in the morning. I usually try to do 50 push-ups every day before I leave the house. So these routines really psychologically impact your performance during the day.
Yeah, well said. Tell us, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Kelley, Kelley, Thornton, Thornton. And if you have any question at all about business or my routines or anything I can help you with, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for sharing, Kelley. We love quotes here at BMR. Leave us with one of your fave.
Oh boy. Okay. I think I like this quote. It's not the strongest or the brightest or the fastest that are most successful. It's those that are able to adapt that ultimately are the most successful in their lives. I believe that's Albert Einstein that said that. Maybe it was Darwin. Of course, it was Darwin that talked about adaptability. So it is a strength to be able to be adaptable in your life. And I think, no matter how smart you are, or strong, or pretty, or how great your skin is, or handsome, those that adapt are also ultimately the ones that are successful.
Well put. Well put. Mic drop. That was a good one. Staying adaptable and flexible, and continue on in the pursuit. Yeah, right. Not trying to get there quicker and faster. Kelley, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Lanid. I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Absolutely.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please comment and tell us what was your favorite part, your favorite habit that you are going to try out for yourself today. Comment below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the top of your best morning routine ever. Stay blessed.